Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. We bring you good tidings that you can never refuse. Thank you for staying with us and for starting your week with us on this program of choice, on this channel of choice for you. Morning Spring on Western Spring Television on channel 190, Star Times TTT. Thank you very much. Femi Ojo is my name. The weekend as an eraser, and it will never, uh, remove that, from wherever you're listening to me right now or watching from, either from, your devices or your television or, whatever medium. Thank you for being with us again. Today is Monday. But we're just speaking behind the camera about the back to school period remaining just 6 days. And I was telling Evelyn just now that this is virtually the most intentional, the most intense, by virtue of our economy that every father, every daddy is looking out for. But then there is a spirit, a God that has brought us this far. He will take
He
us
will
for
definitely
that.
see you through.
Definitely. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning, Femi.
How
How
was the
are you
weekend?
doing?
Man.
I mean, what Femi is saying, I cannot relate, but
Yeah.
then I can see through him. You can see Femi's looking stressed.
You can't relate yet.
Yet.
Put yet.
Yet. But you can see Femi is looking so stressed, and
Well,
I
it's
understand.
not from the back to school thing.
Are
The
you sure?
weekend was extra.
Are you sure?
That's why, but
All right, welcome, people. It's the 9th of September 2024. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei, welcoming you specially to another edition of Morning Spring, the very first installment for this week. We are happy that you are there watching us because we will not be here without you over there. And talking about the back to school, I know a lot of parents right now are very worried. I mean, they are thinking, they are looking at how to pay their children's fees, and this is the time you buy new bags, new shoes, new food flasks, new water bottles, and all of that, new books, new socks. But I think if you will not be able to provide for your children, this is the time you sit them down and have a conversation with them. You don't assume that they understand what the economy is saying. You can as well have a conversation with them as to why they will not be getting new bags, new shoes, new food flasks or water bottles, but I think their books are essential.
Yeah.
So work towards that, and I know that God will definitely supply your needs. So just hang in there.
Amen.
It will pass. It's just a phase. You had this phase last year.
Yeah.
And it's here this time
Some
too.
will say maybe not under this economic atmosphere. That's the issue for most persons.
Yeah.
This is a time for you to do a budget defense. Sit them down like you are presenting a seminar. Guys, look up, take your pen and paper, and let us have this period sorted.
Yeah.
But some will tell you you had almost 4 or 5 weeks to prepare for that. But then another person will say that's not the only thing you are preparing for. Even while those guys are at home, food consumption is double.
Went on an increase.
The energy consumption.
Yes.
Your subscription that you might say, no, I didn't want to do before because
you have to.
You have to.
Yes.
And these are some of the issues. But then it's about priority. That's why we talk about it. It's about priority. There are some things that can, be jettisoned for some time. But then when it comes to education, it is number one. Yeah. And then even in the education, talk about the school fees. And in fact, it might interest you to know there are maybe some parents who are still owing from last term, But then, the moment the resumption kickstarts, the school will be frowning at those people because possibly the school management too are owing. So you see the cycle. If the parents are not paying, the school will not have enough to do what they are supposed to do. And, some schools too are undergoing renovations as well. Yeah. Some things that are leaky, they have to fix it so that everybody will be fine. And it goes back to the economy of the people, the economy policies that the people have to just weather through. And it speaks to people in power. Everybody that has one thing or the other to do must make sure that people have the best of atmosphere to work. In fact, Nigerians are saying, don't give us money. We don't want these palliatives. We just want to walk in the atmosphere that work. We can take care of ourselves. We know Nigerian youth, either parents or young persons, are not lazy, but then what can they do? Somebody buying 655, 700 naira less than a month ago. Now you have to battle. I was traveling over the weekend, just like I said. When the transporter got to the filling station, I saw 1,100
Yeah.
at a popular the kind of filling station you call major marketers.
Yeah.
1,100, and I said to myself, and the guys on the road, some of the men in uniform will still tell you how far. So what does this man take home at the end of the day for his people? These are some of the issues.
Yes, before we move over to the newspaper review segment, I think if the government really has the interest of the people at heart, this is the time they need to put in something, a measure in place, whatever it is, to bring down, to crash down the price of fuel, because the students are going back to school. And I tell you, a lot of students will be homeschooled this semester, this term, because their school is far from their home, and their parents cannot afford to buy fuel or afford their transportation to school. So the parents would rather just stay at home and read your books. When I'm buoyant enough, you can go back to school.
But who does the teaching? That's
This,
school at home.
this is to tell you that economy affects everything, even education.
Everything.
The president was speaking at the weekend to Nigerians in China. And he was saying, I have to do this, I have to take this measure because I came here, the roads are good, I came here, the education is perfect and all of that. So I want to replicate what I'm seeing here in Nigeria. One might want to ask, what will happen to students or children that cannot afford an education before we get to that promised land? What will happen to people that cannot afford food before we get to promised land? So we'll have a ton of people who are hungry and might probably die from hunger, and also children who will not be schooled, and they turn to something else in the future before we get to promised land. So at the end of the day, we are still talking about insecurity taking a toll on the people because the people were not educated.
Very well. And the question is, where is that promise? And then, very importantly, are we on the right path? Because the president might speak, he might speak like somebody who is left with the decision. It's not my making, I just have to do this. But then the body language. The people in power, their own lavish lifestyle is not suggesting that we're in this together. When politicians come around to say, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. Now, you guys will say, Oga, you don't feel nada. We are not together. Because everything you want, not even need, emphasis on everything you want, you are getting. We are not, it's not even about what we want, it's not even about what we need, it's about what's available that we can lay our hands on. So it doesn't look like we are together. He has to make these policies. Are we on the right path? Where's the Eldorado? Where's the promised land? These are some of the questions. Which promised land are we even talking about? We keep asking these questions. We'll take a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll dive straight into what the papers are for us. It's Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Stay with us. All right, I will be starting the newspaper segment with the Nigerian Tribune, the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Increasing VAT to 10% will consume Nigerians. This is coming from former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And with a rider says taxes destroying businesses and aggravating poverty. Many persons who want to say, like a former Vice President Atiku Abubakar suddenly found his voice or his, tweeting fingers to respond to almost every national issues at this time. By the way, he has the right to, just like you and I have the right to as well. Says taxes destroying businesses and aggravating poverty. And Fayose absent as Ekiti PDP caretaker committee meets stakeholders. Yeah, he has even been missing in action of recent. That's the Oshokomola himself. That's the way he calls himself. And Ocean ready for transition to agro-industrial state. Agro-industrial state. Okay, we wait to see how that will pan out. Agri and industry, making industry out of agriculture ventures All the best to Mr. Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State. And moving on, NAFDAC begins probe of miracle water and miracle soap. Interesting, maybe. Evelyn, have you used any of those before? Miracle soap and miracle water, or any
No,
water in your house, any soap we have is miraculous.
no. I think the reason why this is coming out to the fore is because I mean this is the church of has to do with the church of Prophet Jeremiah Fufeyin
Oh,
in
yeah,
Delta
in
State,
Ephraim
and
Delta
he
State.
has some one or two to pick, as they say it in Nigerian parlance, with VDM Veritable Man,
Yeah.
who actually accused him of selling miracle water,
Mm.
miracle soap, and all of
So,
that,
yeah.
and he says it's NAFDAC recognized, NAFDAC registered,
Yeah.
and the NAFDAC had to come out to say no. We didn't register this product that this man is talking about, and I wish it to not just be about them calling him out.
Mm.
There should be a probe into this
Yeah.
because a lot of people may have used that water. We don't know where it's from.
Yeah.
I know he's not the only religious body that does this. Even the traditional, the Islam, and
Mm.
the Christian religion bodies, different
Mm.
churches, and
Mm.
you usually do this where you go to a cleric and they give you something to use and you
Mm.
use and all of that. But this man was publicizing his own. He was
Has been NAFDAC
as a product. In fact, he had a website for it
for that.
where
Right.
you can go put it in a cart and pay money for it.
Now the question is, at what point did you know did that soap or that water became miraculous? Because okay, let's say it has a soap industry or a water bottling industry, and he has gone through the normal process to say, I have a product that I'm looking into, and now that comes to ascertain and he's fine, okay, you can produce in commercial quantity. Is it after the production that he is now marketing those certified products as miraculous? Or you went to NAFDAC
Yeah.
like this is a miraculous soap,
Yeah.
and NAFDAC say, okay, yeah, that's good. Go ahead and
According to
commercialize.
the explanation given by NAFDAC, he said that this is in collaboration with water industry,
Yeah.
table water industry in Delta State.
Okay.
And NAFDAC said they are unaware that
Mm.
this table water is an extension, or your miracle water is an extension of the stable water, and NAFDAC was not brought into the loop about
To
this.
look
So,
into it.
I
Of
mean, it's a
course.
whole lot of things,
It
and
should
I'm
be
sure in the
interrogated,
coming
yeah.
weeks there might be
We
some
get to see,
development.
yeah, many, just like VDM, an online social crusader, and many other persons will say, so that doesn't end up to be like a fraud. You're just, preying on people's anxiety and, people looking for miracle to say this product works for them. By the way, and some will say every water in my house, every soap that I bath with,
It's miracle water. It's miracle
it's
soap.
fine. I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. It's miraculous. Moving on. NDLEA intercept UK Europe bound cocaine and opiates in female sanitary parts and hair cream. Hair cream. Interesting. You would want to think that almost every week you see some of these guys being caught one way or the other from these airports or another airport, some of them on the roads. You would think it will be like a deterrent to others to say you might not be able to go through this, but then where there is law, there is sin is not far off. By the way, 48 killed, 50 cows burned as petrol tanker explodes in Niger. And you can see the picture there of the wreckage. This is terrible.
Yeah.
And sad. The wreckage of the vehicle and those animals there. Petrol 48 killed. That's humans. 50 cows burned as petrol tanker explodes in Niger. This is a sad situation. We don't have the nitty gritty of the story, but one thing I can remember quickly to just put it there is Nigerians should be wary, especially if petrol tanker falls. I'm not saying that's the situation now, because we've seen the situation that the petrol tanker is leaking or has a problem or has fallen off, and you see people go there to scoop. In fact, there is this popular one that fell, and people were scooping, and somebody, I don't know, maybe you saw it, it's giving me shivers as I'm even saying it, and somebody went into the tanker. Those open parts went into the tanker less than 2 seconds. I kid you not, the tanker exploded.
Wow.
You don't want to,
Wow.
you don't want to
Wow.
imagine what will happen to that person?
Wow.
How? What audacity? You know, you go right into the tanker, and these are some of the issues. I don't know the situation around it, but then let's be very, very careful. And some of these tankers falling off as a result of one that I'm sure of bad roads. You know, they articulated. The moment sometimes they tilt off, you know, into a bad portion of the road, disaster happens. But then some persons needs 160 million worth of vehicle to go through that particular road instead of fixing those roads. Posterity will judge every one of us. Ex-VP Sambo Dembazao endorsed League of Northern Democrats. Interesting there. And APC NEC Ganduje intensifies lobby of governance, other blocks. Why not Central is divided. And lastly, Labour Party meets today may sanction members who attended Abia Convention. I'll be up on the front page of the Niger Tribune.
All right, we head on to Daily Trust newspaper at this time. On Daily Trust, 48 people, 50 cows killed in Niger road accident with a rider. Residents blame speed, bad road. Femi said earlier that one major cause of accident, especially in this part of the world, is bad roads. And, when you understand the terrain in which you are traveling on, you have to reduce your speed. That is not the time to, pump the accelerator and
raise
no, you have to go slower so you can be able to maneuver the roads skillfully. Away from that sad news, and we heard that the people have been given mass burial, 48 people. 196 soldiers resigned to proceed on terminal leave November 1. I'll come back to that if we have time to, discuss on that later on. But then moving on, kidnapped Borno judge regains freedom after 2 months. Death by air pollution more than those of malaria, HIV, says minister. We are owed 30 months allowances, border security personnel cry out with riders. Decry overstay at stations. We are reviewing the process, says customs. An ad hoc arrangement over. Top strip, Daily Trust newspaper front page this morning. OPay, Money Point users kick as FG imposes electronic levy. If you're using those platform, you would understand that notification was sent to their users that the sum of 50 naira would be deducted from every 10,000 naira that was received or is being received into the account. Same way we have it for normal traditional banks. Now, the fintech platforms too taking a hold of that. They said it's what the federal government wants and they have to comply.
So who pays?
The users.
You and I.
Yes. Banks colluding with...
middle of what?
Let's move on. Banks colluding with states to bypass fiscal law. This is coming from FRC. And we spend 30,000 naira daily to feed our 9 new babies. This is coming from a blessed father because 9 babies at once is a blessing. And, the father is saying we spend 30,000 naira daily to feed the 9 of them. I mean, it's a whole lot this time when even one, if you give it to one, as your pockets go fill up, let alone 9 babies at once. What do they call them? Is it nonoplats? I think so, nonoplats.
That's a roll of diaper used to once. Not a day, once. Because you can change as maybe a time or two.
That's why I'm saying they spend up to 30,000. Now, multiply 30,000 naira times 30. So they're going to be spending like close to 1 million in a month. And this is just the babies. What about the mother?
Yeah.
That has to consistently be fed and taken care of. And someone said once the baby is out, the attention moves from the mother to the child or the children. So I hope the mother also can be considered.
Those guys might be taking a can of food, baby food, maybe 2 times. Just a can will go for maybe 2 or 3 days.
I don't think it will make it to 3 days. We're talking about 9 hungry children here that just came into the world.
Yeah.
And they are unaware
and this is just
that the economic situation of Nigeria
is not
palatable.
So and this is just the first month. By the second month, the consumption increases. The third month, so that 30,000 naira maybe it's just for the first month. By next month, that 30,000 naira gas increase. Man, that's overflow blessing. Man.
Overflow. I hope
Really?
Nigerians, well-meaning Nigerians,
Yeah,
can come
they
to
need
his
every
aid.
help they
I'm
can
sure
get.
that is why it's making it to
Wow,
the front page of
9.
this dailies this morning. 9 is indeed a blessing, but
God is
then
good.
it can be a whole lot of responsibility.
Yep.
That will be all from Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
All right. To the Nation newspaper, investors take federal government of Nigeria $500 million bond to oversubscription, $500 million bond. And experts project 100% intake, final allotment to beneficiaries this week. And just below that, there is a terrible accident. Um, the image is there, and it's quite a very bad one. Scene of an accident at Odo Iyalaro, inward Ojota from Maryland, Lagos yesterday. You could see, the big vehicle crushing a smaller one. Uh, this- let's just be careful. In as much some of these decisions are in our hands, I don't know how we can do it because we can't keep blaming everything on bad road. Bad road is there. Some of the conditions are terrible, but if it lies in our hands, just like Evelyn said, please take it easy because it is, you can't imagine the impact of this crash.
Yeah.
Looking at the truck crushing this vehicle, what happens to people that are inside? Let's be careful. And here, this one says 48 die in Niger tanker fire as double multiple crashes kill one in Lagos. And here, bottom street PDP knocks Kwakwanso for referring to party as dead. Okay. What did they expect him to say, by the way? He's no more a member of their party. NBA seeks probe of lawyer's death. Right. And top street resident doctors to lose 7 days pay to strike. Really? No work, no payroll day. Okay. I hope the people involved are not caught in another trouble. 342 billion naira recovered from Nelsal MFB debtors. Apex Bank deploys GSI. And here, weak Chinese firms sign MOUs to boost power and water in FCT. I hope one thing I've been saying since these China-Nigeria relationship started is, guys, please read through because we don't want to find out that a portion of Nigeria has been taken over, or a portion of our economy has been taken over, by people that we are defaulting to. And how to deepen CNG penetration by operators. That will be all from the front page of the Nation newspaper for today.
All right, let's see what we have on Vanguard newspaper this morning. Vanguard newspaper, petrol price hike, Nigerians at breaking point, NLC Atiku warn. With riders, NLC insists on reversal, urges citizens to revolt against hike. VAT fuel price hikes will worsen Nigeria's cost of living crisis. This is credited to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And complete refineries by September or sue contractors, Falana tells FG, as Serap calls for reversal of unlawful fuel price hike. All this is just channeled towards the federal government bringing down the price of petrol. JACPA, Canada student enrollment drops 45% after new study visa cap. And away from that, NDLEA intercepts consignments of cocaine, opioids in sanitary pads, air creams. People would always keep illegal things anywhere they can find. And in sports, Oluwafemi Ayo
Yes.
clinches
Okay.
second gold. No, not your Femi.
Okay.
All right, Oluwafemi Ayo clinches second gold, shatters world record. I mean, this Paralympians are really giving Nigeria, bringing Nigeria to the front line. You know, during the Olympics, we did not even clinch a bronze. In fact, we didn't even clinch any medal. even if it's not a bronze, any metal at all. We didn't
yeah,
even
we
near that.
had no podium performance. Yeah.
But those Paralympians have been doing us proud.
Excellent.
Excellent
Yeah.
work, excellent work, and a lot of people actually were looking forward to them changing the narrative by bringing us medals, and they are doing just that. We have 2 golds in the bag as at this time. VAT, this is top strip, Vanguard newspaper front page today. VAT CIT revenue rises 85% to 6.44 trillion naira. Amid economic challenges, FG opens new opportunities with LTC license to UTM FLNG. And Yardua matriarch engage in politics of integrity. Clark tells Atiku. Okay, 100 feared dead in tank explosion in Niger State. 50 cows burnt. I mean, this is a different number from what we had earlier on from Daily Trust. Vanguard is putting the figure as at 100, and Daily Trust is saying 48 people. I think the number of cows are the same, but then the figures of people that may be dead, I mean, they are conflicting here. And just for the last meter, Mr. and Mrs. on Vanguard front page, Mr. saying, I said I'm broke. Instead of quarreling with me, you gave me 150,000 naira. Your name may be Philomena, but you are phenomenal. I won't mind if you can make it 200,000 naira. There's a thing they say, don't push your luck too much. I think that's what Mr. is doing this morning. And Mrs. is replying, 200,000 naira, your name may be Oliver. Don't ask for more.
Don't ask for more.
Exactly. So that's it on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And there's this thing about people saying that when you're given anything at this time, no matter the amount, just appreciate it. Someone says, if I send you 10,000 naira and you do not call me and say, and send me probably 1 page of prayers, and I just see, thanks, I've gotten it. You are sending me back my 10K. Because it's a whole lot this time when someone is able to gift you something or part with a particular sum.
Especially at this.
Exactly. That will be all from Vanguard.
And it takes extreme kindness for you to part with something now, because most persons, whatever you make is not even enough. So it takes somebody with extreme gesture of kindness to do that. And quick one from the Guardian newspaper. Back to school. Oh wow. Parents grown as fares spike by over 70% amid dropout concerns. Exactly where we started this morning, and we have not even looked at this before we had that conversation earlier. Parents grown as fares spiked by over 70% amid dropout concerns. And you have, the picture of a father who has the burden on inflation on himself, and of course, dragging the child to school. You can see the picture of the school bus as well, and just a few students are finding their way to the school bus, because you can imagine how much the school, any school offering transportation, will be, telling people to pay, charging at this time, because you and I know there's no reason to fight any school now based on what they will be charging. The obvious is there for everybody. Maybe that's why these school bus is being depicted here, and just few students are just making their way to that. Just like Evelyn said, almost everything you have talked about is what the Guardian is reporting this morning, because some students or pupils, you have to be trekking more than they would naturally do, normally do rather. You can see the father saying, you will have to endure this term. Inflation is forcing us to cut back on expenses. And you can see the pupil, the child's face, frowned, and the father is just dragging. And the child responds, does cutting back include spending less time in school? Oh, see, this is Evelyn. Yeah. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Interesting. But you might not have the backstory. I'll keep that one under the wraps. Atiku, Uriwa, flay Tinubu's plan to raise VAT, one of devastating consequences, and Ajayi Edema Chida Yedatiwa over appointment of 344 SAs amid economic hardship. Just few SSAs and SAs there. There are just 344 in our own those states. All right, NAFDAC warns against a miracle product of faith-based organizations, and NLC vows to tackle graft, fiscal indiscipline by politicians. How will you do that? We wait to see. And POS operators insist on court ruling amid CAC threats. Nigerians not enjoying benefits of more allocations to state. I think that's one conversation that we keep pressing in to have. You know, the states have more money. Some of them are saying no, it's just grants. But the obvious is there, the allocation has improved. And people are saying our lives, their lives, hasn't shown that there's more money to our different states. And reverse petrol pump price, Serap, APC chief, tell that will be all from the Guardian.
And let's take on the Punch newspaper at this time. On the Punch newspaper, marketers plan petrol import as NNPCL Dangote's talks drag. Riders, double riders here, petrol dealers to meet Dangote over price and uncertainty over NNPC's September 15 PMS lifting. And Ipman laments as NNPC delays supply at depots. Pump price nears 1,250 naira in states. And still about that sad incident that happened in Niger State. I mean, it's common to all newspapers on the review this morning, and Punch is no exception. 48 passengers, 50 cows killed in Niger tanker fire. Over 1,000 soldiers resigned from army in 4 years. Report, and this should be a thought of concern for those in leadership. I mean, our leaders should be concerned about this. We're talking about the high rate of insecurity in the different states, and instead of us bringing in more soldiers, we're having more soldiers, leaving the battlefront. Euro-bound cocaine consignment intercepted in sanitary parts. And Atiko's aid, LP, and NPP differ on merger plan. The earlier, the better. Those people, the earlier they started, they knew where they are going, the better for all of them. I mean, this is year 2 going on. And if they want to talk about any merger, I think this should be the time for them to put the foundations in place. Top corner. Strike. Asks the government panel to meet Wednesday. Group sues Lagos over $100 million Dangote land deal. And 4 billion naira illegal arms, 10 charged with terrorism. And you can see the picture of the Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, by that particular headline. Let's go to Edo State, the heartbeat of Nigeria. Obaseki's ego. I mean, talking about their heartbeat, seems Nigeria's heartbeat rate now is on the increase. Yes. We have Edo election coming soon. Okay, so Obaseki's ego caused rift with Ohiolei. This is coming from the APC, and from the PDP's corner, group urges ESSA people to unite for Ighodalo. That will be all we have from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, and that ends the newspaper review segment for today. We'll go for this briefer. When we return, it will be time for us to talk about what we have on our plate. Do not go anywhere. Morning Spring. We'll be right back.